Hey friends, thanks for stopping by for another video. I hope you're all doing splendid today out there. But today I'm going to be going through my July TBR. I can't believe we're already in July. But this month is kind of special to me because I finally got through my Book of the Mysteries picks for the last couple months. I started that a couple months ago and I finally got through those. So now I get to pick a couple more. So I'm just going to dive right in with all these picks I've got. There's quite a few different books ranging from different genres, and they're pretty chunky books. So they're going to give me a lot of reading, and I'm hoping that it's going to be just a fun month of reading, just like these past months have been. This year's been great for reading for some reason. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the Book of Mysteries picks. I think I'm going to do two again, because I've been using kind of audiobooks a lot more, so I think I can get through two this month. So I'm going to shake it up. So the first pick is All the Stars and Teeth, which I believe is a kind of YA fantasy centered around kind of like pirates and mermaids and the ocean, and I do love the ocean and everything like that, and I've been meaning to get to a lot of my YA books. I think they're the majority of the books on my bookshelf right now, so this is book number one. And the second pick is The Great Alone, which is by Kirsten Hanna. Absolutely love The Nightingale, and I've heard great things about this one as well. So book number two, ranging from two different genres, but the Book of Mysteries always seems to provide a good book for me, so we'll see where that goes from there. But I'm excited for these picks this month. The last Book of the Mysteries, I was a bit disappointed by Housemaid of Dawn, but Beyonders, as you'll see later on in this TBR, I was really interested with the start of that series, so I think the Book of Mysteries is here to stay. Next I'm just going to go over a couple different series that I plan on continuing on with. The first one I'm on the Goblet of Fire for the Harry Potter series. I've been reading this pretty quickly. This series has just been a blast for me. I love the magic and everything going on. I can't believe I've said this several million times, but I can't believe I haven't read this series yet or watched any of the movies. But I'm just vibing with everything in here. Like, Hagrid is one of my favorite characters, and this one has a dragon on the cover. If you can't see, it's got a dragon on it, and I love dragons, so I wonder how it'll kind of play into this kind of Goblet of Fire. I believe it's kind of like a kind of competition between some other magical schools, but I'm really excited for this one, and it is quite a bit bigger than the other ones, so yeah. Next up, I'll be continuing on with the Beyonders series with the Seeds of Rebellion. I really enjoyed A World Without Heroes. That really surprised me. That was my Book of Mysteries pick a couple months ago, and it had a blurb from Rick Riordan, but that was all I kind of knew about it, and just the world and everything going on with it was just so interesting, and the kind of setup for this, and it's like a middle grade, but it almost seemed kind of like on the verge of kind of YA, like an entryway into YA, because there were definitely some dark points and kind of topics that were not really for middle grade in my opinion, but I don't know, I could be just a old-fashioned dude or something like that. But yeah, like everything going on with it was just really interesting, and I can't wait to continue on with this series. But the way the first one kind of left off, I was going a bit crazy because some things went down and a twist definitely took a turn, and I wasn't expecting it. And now I need to figure out what is going on, and thankfully this whole series is complete, so I can just binge this whole series and then get to some of his other works. This is one that I've heard nothing about. His Fablehaven series, I believe, is the one that's kind of talked about by everyone, so I can't wait to dive into the second book. And then the last series I'll be continuing on with is the second book in the Crown of Feathers, which is The Heart of Flames by Nikki Paul Preda. I am absolutely loving this kind of, it's YA fantasy surrounding kind of these phoenixes and how they kind of play a role in this kind of kingdom that's kind of it was ruled by two queens, and basically these sisters kind of fought, and they were on different sides, and then a civil war kind of broke out, and then from there, like, the Phoenix Riders were kind of hunted down and killed, and now some things are starting to come off. It follows three different perspectives, and it follows kind of like one of my, I absolutely kind of loved how this is played out, but it's kind of like Mulan, where Veronica kind of pretends to be a boy to join these Phoenix Riders, and then the other two perspectives, like one of them, Sev, is kind of like the intrigue and the spy, kind of undercover. He's hiding, or he's pretending, or no, he actually is an Empire soldier, and he's kind of working undercover to kind of stop what's going on in the first book. And I can't wait to continue on with the second one because I've just fell in love with the world, and the third book is getting ready to come out, so I'm gonna just fly through this whole series. I'm absolutely loving it. Next up, I'm sure you've heard a lot about this book. It just recently came out, and I'm really excited for it. I read another book by this author last year, and I loved that one. It was very interesting and kind of the twist I wasn't expecting, but I'm hoping to get to The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. And yeah, The Silent Patient was crazy, and this one is kind of dark academia taking place in Cambridge, where this kind of classics professor is kind of mysterious, and he kind of controls this group of college girls called like the Maidens that are kind of doing some cult stuff, and we got some murders happening, and this one therapist, I believe, is trying to kind of uncover the truth and prove that this professor is actually a murderer and is a terrible dude. But yeah, you can't go wrong with dark academia taking place in Cambridge. Cambridge is one of the oldest universities in the world. So yeah, and it follows like a Greek tragedy, I believe, and I love everything kind of surrounding Greek culture. So yeah, this has been gaining a lot of hype, and I can't wait to dive into this. I've been making a goal to kind of check out a set of poetry or poems or just a play once a month, like pick one and kind of go from there. And last month I picked up Fierce Fairy Tales by Nikita Gill, and this month her newer collection of kind of short stories and poems is Where Hope Comes From. And I really enjoyed Fierce Fairy Tales. It kind of takes a different spin on the fairy tales that we're all kind of used to, kind of covering the kind of villains that we were kind of shown as being the bad people, but it kind of shows a different side of them. And there's a kind of like just a lot of deeper meanings in a lot of the different poems, and I really gained a lot from that. And this one, I believe it says poems for resilience, healing, and light. And we all need that in life sometimes, and I'm trying to decrease a lot of my stress from school and work, and I think this can do it. I flew through Fierce Fairy Tales and loved that, so I think this one's just going to be just as good. And the last book that's set in plan is going to be A Gentleman in Moscow by Immortals. I put this in books I really want to read this spring, or I think it was summer. I believe it's spring, but it is now summer, and I didn't get to it in spring, so I really want to get to this. It's historical fiction taking place right after the Russian Revolution. So it's following a count, an aristocrat, kind of on house arrest, waiting his kind of tribunal among some Bolsheviks, and it just kind of shows his kind of journey as through himself, kind of learning more about himself as well as the kind of changes happening to Russia right after the revolution. So I've heard this is really great, and I really want to dive into it soon. But it just follows like a time period that I'm really interested in, like following the events of the Russian Revolution. I was really interested in that, and then just the aftermath and kind of how it shaped Russia as we see it today. But those are all just kind of my set plans, but I've got a couple books here that kind of like I would like to get to if I have the time. Most of the time it's just going to be a mood read, and I'll just pick up whatever I'm feeling. But I would really like to start a Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, but I feel like I've got a lot of series on my plate that I really want to get to, and I'm in the middle of, so I might not get to this until the next month. And just Half Sick of Shadows I really want to get by Lauren Sebastian. This is her adult debut, kind of taking a feminist retelling following what is her name? So I believe this follows Lady Elaine's kind of perspective, and I loved everything about the kind of Aurelian tale and King Arthur and all that stuff. So I really want to get to this one for sure if I have the time. But I also might have like a couple different other books for buddy reads and that kind of stuff that I would really like to get to as well. And I might have like 1 or 2 books left in the Forward collection. I've been flying through that, so those are kind of books that I will be kind of like on the background, in the back burner essentially. But all these up here are my main plans, so it's gonna be a fun month of reading. But that's all for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts on any of these books if you've read them, or if you've got an opinion on them. Is there any of these that you would like to see book chats on? I'm really planning on doing like a book chat for The Maidens and The Gentleman in Moscow, but if there's any others you would really like to see like an in-depth review on, please let me know. But I hope you all have a splendid day, and I'm going to leave you with a message from Ellie, who said that adventure is out there. So I'll catch you next time. Bye.